Alright everyone, so today we, the Splatoon community, have had a breakthrough. This is super important to me because to my knowledge, I am the first one to figure this out in the English Splatoon scene. That's right, me. I am the big boy. Big run? No. Big boy. Me. I am the big boy. Though I could be wrong about me being the first one to find this, I haven't seen anyone else bring this up yet, so as far as I know so far, I am the first one that's figured this out. Gotta brag a little bit about this here, this is my first big find in translating stuff. So, what is all this commotion about? Well, I received a comment a few days ago recently claiming that the prophetic squid we learn about in the Alternalogs is actually Madai, aka the person who wrote the Book of Madai in the Sunken Scroll in Splatoon 2. The Book of Madai ended up prophesizing Big Run. Obviously, we know the Book of Madai prophesized Big Run as we can see the smoke and the 7 rings in the skybox during Big Run. But what we don't know for sure yet is if this really is Madai. Now, it would make a ton of sense if this was Madai. Big Run was a prophecy, and the squid is the only one that we know that could fill this role. But in the Splatoon world, whenever a reference to some sort of higher power is brought up, just about every time it's true. The 3 deep cut lights consuming the Splatlands flood, the spirits of marine life, and now Big Run. Any higher power in the Splatoon world could be responsible for predicting the Salmonids coming into Inkling territory. So while it's possible, maybe even probable depending on how you think about it, but that's not the main thing I want to talk about today. I want to tell you my findings on Sunken Scroll 8. In English, it reads, Salmonids mature by returning to the waters where they spawned. Sometimes, in very rare cases, a young salmonid will stray too far from their original school during a run and become lost. Their wandering quest to return home can lead to prolonged starvation and insatiable hunger. That's what the English translation reads, but what if I told you everything in this scroll is incorrect? It's true. The Japanese Sunken Scroll is much different and shows us the true origin of Smallfry in a very interesting statistic. The Japanese Sunken Scroll 8 reads, about 1 to 2 out of 10,000 fish meaning salmonids here, are sometimes found with a special kojake, which means small fry, called keji, which means either criminal or detective. I'm not sure which meaning of the word it's referring to here, but for the situation it doesn't really matter. But anyway, normal small fry grow up near where they're born in another region. It's said that during the Big Run, it got lost in the original herd. It seems that they eat everything from hunger due to long trips. So, wow, we've got some stuff to break down here. So, the biggest thing I could do to try to disprove our small fry being a result of a Big Run was to see what Big Run actually is called in Japanese. And, yep, it's called Big Run. It literally even almost sounds exactly the same in Japanese as it does in English. So, we have it. Rogue small fry are the result of getting lost in a big run. I'm not saying that all salmonids because I don't want to make any assumptions and end up being wrong about it. If it's like a chum, cohawk, or even like a boss salmonid can go rogue too, since the scroll only says small fry. So now that we know that small fry got lost in a big run, we've got quite a few questions and it really just doesn't make a ton of sense. One, if small fry is from a big run, when did this big run happen? Could the big run that our small fry came from not have even happened yet? What I mean by this is if the first big run we're getting in Splatoon 3 is the first big run to ever happen, that would mean the events of Return of the Mammalians hasn't happened until at minimum the first big run. Personally, I hate this idea, it just sounds really stupid to be flip-flopping all over the timeline, but it's not impossible. The events of Octo Expansion and Hero Mode 2 happened at the exact same time, even though the release dates of the two campaigns are a year apart, and there's like 11 Splatfests that happen in between. So that idea is not impossible, however, I've got another idea as to explain small fry. What if we're not going into the first big run? We know that salmon migrations happen around every 70 years, and there's gotta be a few thousand years of salmonids, considering there's ancient prophecies made about them in Big Run, and they have deeply established culture. So is it too far-fetched to assume that the big run we're about to go into isn't the first big run to ever happen? We know that at least in this salmon migration that started in Splatoon 2, there hasn't been a big run yet until Splatoon 3. But there have been salmon migrations before, so it's not impossible for a previous big run to have happened. But in this case, that would happen to make our little small fry buddy of ours at youngest like 70 years old. Which sounds really strange at first until you remember that like Cuttlefish and Octavio are like something over 100 years old. Also in Rasika's video they made about Salmon Run a while back, they mentioned that salmon age may not be reflective of whether or not they're like bosses, chum, cohawks, or small fry. So little buddy could possibly be like 70 years old, maybe even older, and that would definitely give some backing to why the small fry we see that go rogue are so hungry from wandering for so long. If this is the case, then Small Fry's been hunting for scraps for literal decades. So to wrap this up, well, it's really not getting wrapped up yet. I have a good feeling this is going to escalate further, and hopefully we can get some more people involved to crack this case of the rogue Small Fry in Big Run. But if you, the viewer, have any information to help figure out this and you've got a source to back it up, definitely let me know in the comments. Very much hoping I didn't screw anything up in translation here, but I don't think I did. I've done translations before, like on a smaller scale, and haven't screwed them up, so I don't think I would have messed anything up this time either. But either way, I've got the links to the transcription of the Sunken Scroll I used in the description below. Anyways, gamers, that is it from me. See ya.